All right, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Boys Chat. You got Tanner, Colby, and Darren here with you today. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and let's get right into it. Today's topic is Halloween, and when this episode is released, Halloween is the following day, so it's kind of fitting that we do it. Anyways, let's get right into it. First off, I've got a list of traditions from around the world, kind of the most popular ones, and then the history and origin of Halloween, but do you guys have any like family favorite traditions that are a little bit less common? Or do you guys kind of just do like a more typical one? Or is there something like kind of out there that you guys would think is not that common that your family does?
I don't do anything really crazy. I mean, probably the biggest thing that's a little different for my family is it's my mom's birthday. She was born on Halloween, so we're always
Yeah.
celebrating her birthday. She doesn't really care that much most days, so it's usually like, oh, we'll go out to dinner for her or whatever, kind of hang out with her a little bit, and then go out and do whatever we're gonna do. Like, there's not really a set thing of what we do, but
Okay.
Yeah, my family, nothing like super wild. We started doing scones. So like my dad would get like the camp stove out and just be like deep frying scones on the driveway. So people could come up, like eat a scone, and then like we still have a bucket of candy for the kids. Like being in a cul-de-sac, like the parents can just chill on our driveway. Well, like the kids make their way around the cul-de-sac, and then when they're loaded up on candy, and then the parents dip out. So it kind of works out.
Nice.
Yeah.
You
How
know,
about you?
we don't do nothing special. Um,
I
when
feel
we
like
were a kid,
Halloween's. Sorry, go.
no, go for it.
I feel like Halloween's one of those holidays that it's like, yeah, it's a major holiday, but it's not like Thanksgiving where there's a tradition around it, or I mean,
Hmm.
not that there's not a tradition around Halloween or anything, but it's more of a fun holiday and not a very deep meaning behind it. At least I feel like not, but maybe other people feel otherwise. But
Yeah, not in corporate America.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, that's because it's not an American holiday traditionally.
Mm.
right.
Also, I
Granted,
feel like you either
not a
get
lot
way
of.
into Halloween or like
Mhm.
you're like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, or you hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's three people. Um, but yeah, no, I don't think my family. We don't really do anything crazy. When we were kids, like instead of like a jack o' lantern bucket thing, we just use our pillowcases to go trick or treating, and
Yeah.
that's not crazy uncommon. But then like we'd trade candy again, not super uncommon, but yeah, we'd go over to. We'd always make sure we'd stop at a family friend's house, and they did scones and homemade root beer. So we'd always go over and snag something, and so. But yeah, all right. Let's dive into some other ones that are kind of more common, more popular traditions that I'm sure, at least the American style ones, that I'm sure most of us have done. So some popular traditions are trick or treating, which that's the first thing I really think about. That and like costumes, which is another big one around the world. That's like the first thing I think of when I think of Halloween is candy, trick or treating, costumes.
Right.
Uh huh.
So, and then going with trick or treating, a lot of places will do a trunk or treat, which is like more of like a community based thing. I think they're fairly popular, at least here. Like my neighborhood, my parents' neighborhood have always done one. They've ranged in how good they were. But I don't know, do you guys have trunk or treats where you guys, like growing up, did you guys participate in trunk or treats?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that was like on a separate night too than Halloween most years. It usually wasn't on the same night, just to kind of get more people to be involved with it, I feel like. But I mean, we do a lot of like there'd be like a potluck dinner or something with it too. Like there'd be more than just like everybody getting together and just kind of handing out candy together too. It was we got together, brought some food, and just kind of hung around. So
Yeah, we do it like once in a while in like the church parking lot, like as a church activity. But other than that, not really done truck or treats.
Hmm. Yeah, my parents' neighborhood, they just do it around that park
Uh-huh.
because it's one big circle, and so everyone just parks their car on the side, and you kind of walk around. I remember there was always a random stretch of like no cars on one side, and then it was boom, 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 just car after car, and then maybe a space here or there, but it was just like car after car, car after car, and then like a random massive gap, and then you keep going.
Okay.
So
Because
yeah,
everyone in
and
the
they
park
used to,
wants that.
yeah, yeah, they used to have like activities going on in the park as well, like different thing for the kids, different ways, like the whole you throw like the fishing pole over like a sheet and you get candy that way. That was there one time. There was like a cardboard box maze thing and a bunch of other things in the park that were going on. But as like I got older, my siblings got older, those became less and less common. And then now there's not usually something in there. They'll have treats every now and then, like popsicles or something big, but nothing more than that. So yeah, costume parties. Do you guys how like on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard do you go on like your costume on average, would you say?
1, maybe less.
I figured that.
Yeah.
I don't do the dressing up thing. I never have. I mean, it was maybe like when I was younger, like okay, I would have like a Superman costume or something. Like I go to the store and just go buy it. I wouldn't make my own costume. Like
Mhm.
probably the last time I dressed up, I was maybe 10, if that. It's been a long time since I've dressed up.
Yeah, I do the dress up. I don't know. It's like if I have a group of people that are like bought in and like gonna go hard with it, I'm down. But I'm also not like trying to make it happen. You know, like for
Right.
lacrosse, we're about to do the Halloween game, and so we're all dressing up as like the minions. So it's like you can't not when like the whole squad's doing it. You know,
Mhm.
unless Colby.
Yeah.
But yeah, how about you?
It's ranged from year to year. I'll like put in just enough effort to where it's like, oh, you can kind of tell what it is, but not enough to where I'm like going hard.
Uh huh.
Like one year, I borrowed a gorilla mask and gloves from my neighbor, and then just put on like some lacrosse gear, like a shirt and shorts, and I was a gorilla lacrosse player, and I walked around with like a fiddle stick. I made a kid cry too doing that. We went trick or treating in the St. James neighborhood because that's like where all the rich people were, and so
Uh
you get nicer candy bars.
yeah.
Um, and there was this little kid in like a vampire costume, and we're just like walking down the street, and this kid sees me, he starts crying. I was like, crap. So I ripped the mask off and I hide it behind my back. I'm like, hey, buddy. I take the gloves off. I'm like, hey, buddy. Like, we're
You,
totally fine. We get further down. I put it back on, and then we like circle back around. And I see the kid across the street. We're about to like cross me, and I rip it off and I hide it again real fast. I'm like, hey, buddy.
you sure he wasn't crying after you took on the mask? You sure it was
I'm
before?
sure it was. I'm sure it was before, Colby.
All right, I just had to double check on that one. 'Cause if it were me, it'd probably be after I took off the mask. So
Yeah,
I
I
had to
know.
double
I know.
check.
I know. All right. What about haunted houses? How do you guys feel about haunted houses?
I mean, they're all right. They're not. I don't know. Depends on the level that they are. Like, if you, what comes to my mind is like Staley Farms with what they
Mm,
do or what they
mm,
used to do. I don't know if they're doing it anymore or whatever, but like, yeah, that was a decent one when you were like younger, I felt like, but like the older I got, the less I wanted to go. Um, but I mean, I'm trying to think any other haunted house I've done besides that one in the last few years. And there's maybe, I guess Lagoon was the other one that I did. That one was all right, but I don't know. They're just, some of them are overrated and others are, if they're done well and like the right amount of scary, but the right amount of, oh, just kind of walking around, I think they're good. But that's just kind of my deal with them.
Yeah, I don't
what about you,
love
Darren?
this like scary aspect of Halloween. like, I don't mind going to haunted houses and whatever else, but like watching like a horror movie, never enjoyed it just because I'm like, I would so much rather watch a comedy and laugh than watch a scary
Mm-hmm.
movie.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
with you.
It's like,
Yeah, I feel that.
yeah, like I remember in high school we would like talk about these girls were dating and they're like, yeah, let's watch a scary movie, and I'm like, just want a girl to force me to watch a chick flick. Like, come on.
You want to watch a rom com?
You're
That's what
sitting
I'm
there quoting
saying.
it better than she is.
They're like, oh, let's watch a scary movie. No.
I agree. I agree with you, Colby. The only ones that I've done are like the Staley Farm ones, and it was like right before COVID was when it was like pretty decent, and then like COVID hit, and they had a kind of pivot, and ever since then, it's kind of just gone downhill. It's not like a corn maze. I guess it was more of a haunted corn maze,
Yeah,
but like COVID shut that down, and then they're trying to sell that side of the land or something like that, and they still do something, and I'd say it's more of like a haunted maze house thing instead of like, because it's not in the corn, it's off to their side, and they've got like a big tent set up,
right.
and they do something over there. I haven't been to it, but there's that. But I mean, I've heard of some pretty like scary haunted houses. There's one at Salt Lake. I can't remember what it's called, but I
The
heard
Way
it's
House.
mhm,
Yeah.
something like that. There's one in San Diego. It's either San Diego or somewhere else in Southern California where you actually have to sign a waiver to go in. And there's a few around wherever that you have to sign a waiver to go in. But there's one where it's like you sign the waiver, and if you can make it all the way through without giving up, you get like a ton of money. I want to say it's 1 million or something. It's something like that. It's a ton of money if you can make it all the way through. But these people are like actually allowed to touch you. They're allowed to chase you. They're allowed to like throw stuff on you and like actually half torture you
Hmm.
almost. Like they're not gonna like full on try and kill you,
Uh huh.
but pretty close.
Make
And
you feel like
no one's made it through. Yeah.
That's
I guess
crazy.
everyone gives up. So now you've got to be a pretty twisted person to want to do that, but you got to be even of a more twisted person to want to be the person that is
Doing it.
working there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how messed up do you have to be like, what do I want to do for my job? I want to work in this haunted house and throw pig intestine on people as they walk by. Like, what? That's a little much for me.
Probably get paid well.
Maybe. All right. And then another common one in America, in the United States, is jack-o'-lanterns. You know, carving pumpkins and stuff. Do you guys do that? I haven't done it for a couple of years. It's been a while since I've carved a pumpkin. I know like painting pumpkins became pretty popular a few years ago.
Uh-huh.
But do you guys
Yeah.
have plans to do that this year?
Yes. Yeah. Ellie always loves to do it. I'm surprised she hasn't bugged me to do it in the last little bit, but she always wants to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember like the backstory with jack-o'-lanterns. Like I heard it a while ago, but I can't remember the full story to even tell it. But there's a backstory of why people do it, like a genuine like same reason that people how trick-or-treating turned into trick-or-treating, like one of those deals. But
Mm-hmm.
I
Hey,
can't
man,
remember.
don't spoil it, man. I'll get to it later,
Oh, I
dude.
didn't know you had
I will get
like
to it later, bro.
my
He's on his
bad, my bad.
way.
You're trying to jump ahead and spoil my episode.
My
I'm in it,
bad.
dude. I
Just
got
trying to
it.
add to it, dude. Just trying to help out.
What about you, Darren? You guys doing it this year?
Um, this year was a little bit different. I've done it most years. Um, this year, the females had a girls' night and they made like
Oh boy.
it's just like a styrofoam pumpkin
Okay.
and then like fake flowers. So they just like made a Halloween like or fall decoration, I guess. I was just chilling on the table behind me conveniently, but
Oh, well.
um, So yeah, they did that on Sunday, and I was like, okay,
Cool.
I'll be on the couch.
Nice. Yeah. Cam is wanting to do them, but where we are, like outside of our front door, is like a hallway,
Uh-huh.
and our landlord doesn't want us to put pumpkins out there. Um, so when we lived downstairs and outside was just concrete, we were allowed to. So we had pumpkins out there, but upstairs we're not allowed to because it'll potentially ruin the carpet.
Checked
So I'm
out.
like, oh darn.
Oops.
But yeah, no, we used to do it growing up all the time. So
Yeah.
but a little backstory into jack-o'-lanterns before, I'll dive further into the story, but it's an Irish tradition. That's where kind of Halloween originated, is Ireland, Scotland. Like, it's a Celtic thing. And in America, we use pumpkins, but traditionally you're supposed to use
Potatoes.
like turnips or squash or something like that. Yeah, I had it somewhere. Turnips and beets is what was like traditionally used in Ireland. So interesting, slightly of a different shape.
Yeah.
Let's see, we'll hit a couple more of these traditions. A big one is, I'm gonna butcher the crap out of this, so Darren, you might have to save me on this. Dia de los Muertos.
Pretty good.
Cool, cool.
Give it a
um,
pass.
yeah, so that's Day of the Dead. There's some similarities between that and Halloween. One of the big ones is just time of year. Um, Halloween is the 31st of October and the 1st of November. And then Day of the Dead is the 31st of October to the 2nd of November, I believe, is the research. And let's dive into that, actually. I found that's kind of the last of the traditions. There's not really anything else that's kind of crazy around the world. I believe Chile has their version of Day of the Dead as well. I'm not going to try and pronounce that one. But a lot of it's just like handing out candy, exchanging gifts and whatnot, dressing up as costumes. The more traditional reason for like costumes is to ward off evil spirits and hide amongst the dead. We'll get into that in a few minutes. But other than that, there's nothing really like outlandish, crazy traditions that I found around the world for Halloween. But anyways, Darren, I know you spent some time in Mexico. You were there when they celebrated it, correct?
I was in the MTC, so
Oh, okay,
not really. I didn't
a
get
little
like
bit.
the
Did
culture of
you
it.
did you learn anything about it being there, or?
Yeah, so actually, there's a handful of missions in Mexico where they were allowed to watch Coco because of how well it like represented the culture, and like you watch it in Spanish and it works as like a language study. So like
Mm-hmm.
that was actually pretty solid, just with how like you can um like how it's all about honoring the dead, and like you're leaving things on like the gravestones and whatever else for them. Like that was pretty accurate. I've heard stories. There's like this this like grandma, and every Halloween she'd go and put like a nice bottle of bourbon on the tombstone, and then she'd go back like a couple days later, like the next day, and it would be like empty the day after. And she's like, "It's my husband. It's because it was his favorite drink." And everyone was like, "Nah." They're like, "Too many people know you're leaving that bottle out."
That's awesome.
Well, yeah, honestly, Coco's a pretty solid representation of what's going on.
Cool. Yeah, so I'll just briefly kind of give some similarities and differences. So, like I said, the timing, right around the end of October, beginning of November. The focus on the deceased, now it varies in why they're focusing on, and Halloween's more, what does my note say? What do my notes say? The acknowledging of the existence of spirits and the supernatural entities. So it's kind of like focus on the dead. I think of like maybe like zombies and different monsters you dress up as. That one's a little bit of a stretch on connecting them. Decoration symbols. Both holidays incorporate decorative elements. Halloween is jack-o'-lanterns, witches, monsters. Day of the Dead is iconic for sugar skulls and marigold flowers. So, I mean, these similarities are kind of a stretch. It's more of just like, oh yeah, you decorate, we decorate, so we're the same. But where they differ is cultural origins. So Halloween has Celtic and Christian origins. It's primarily celebrated in the US, Canada, and some Western countries, and some European countries as well. Whereas Dia de los Muertos is an indigenous in Mexican roots. So I'm not sure how common it is throughout like Latin America and South America. I'm sure they have their own version. Maybe it's not exactly called the same. I mean, it's not going to be called the same thing, but I'm sure they have similar ideas where it's just honoring the dead. The tone and purpose is different. Halloween is more of a spooky, playful idea where you dress up and have fun, whereas Day of the Dead is more of a celebration of families coming together and whatnot. So it's probably still fun, but not as spooky and stuff. I saw that costumes are a kind of a difference, a big difference. Whereas in Halloween, you can dress up as whatever you want. And I'm dressed up as X, Y, and Z. Whereas in Day of the Dead, there's traditional attire, and it often includes dressing as a skeleton, or face paint to resemble a sugar skull, and it's more traditional, and there's more of like a set thing rather than a wide variety. So
instead of dressing up as a Playboy bunny, is what you're saying?
yeah. Isn't there? Is it Mean Girls? There's a quote where it's like, there's two types of girls on Halloween's, those that dress up like something, the other ones that dress up like
the other ones that just wear lingerie and
Wow, Colby, you know Mean Girls, huh?
Yes,
wow.
I do. I have 2 older sisters, dude. Why would I not know Mean Girls?
Yo, I saw Mean Girls for the first time like 2 months ago. Holy, when she got hit by the bus. I was
That's
crying.
my favorite part.
I was like, that wasn't real.
Oh my goodness gracious,
gosh.
sir.
Did not see
we
that.
should have like a reaction. We should post like a reaction video of like Darren watching maybe Star Wars. Have you watched all of them yet?
Nah, we could still get like the 3 through 9.
Maybe we'll do that. We'll have him watch Star Wars, and we'll film him reacting to it or something. Anyways, let's hop into the origin and history of Halloween. Do you guys know off the top of your head where it started? I already said it. Were you guys listening?
Celtic origin, which I didn't even know was a thing. But Ireland, Scotland.
There we go. Yep.
I thought the term that everybody used was pagan holiday, but I don't even know what any of those words mean, so I'm not even gonna try and guess on that at all.
Close. So Halloween has its roots in ancient Celtic festival of I don't know how to say this word. It's Samhain? It's not spelled how it sounds, but I had to look it up, and I believe that's how it's pronounced. Which is celebrated in areas that are now Ireland, United Kingdom, and parts of France. So this time of year, I'm not going to try and pronounce it, but it marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter, and it fell on or around the 31st of October. And the Celts believed that on that night, the boundary between the living and the dead was blurred, allowing spirits and fairies to return to the earthly realm. And that kind of sounds like Day of the Dead, at least how they portray it in Coco, where there's like the bridge and they've got to lay down the flowers so that way the dead can make their way across into the graveyard and into the homes and stuff. And so some of the Celtic customs that they would do is bonfires to ward off evil spirits and protect and offer protection during the dark winter months that were coming. People would dress up in costumes. That's kind of where the whole dressing up in costumes thing came from. But they would dress up in costumes made from animal heads and skins, believing that it would help them blend in with wandering spirits and to kind of scare off evil ones. And then divination, which I think is just a bunch of hooky pooky. But it's, it was during this time, it was easier to predict the future and various divination rituals were practiced. So that maybe that's where the whole pagan thing comes from. Like you were saying,
Probably.
Colby, like a demonic thing if they're doing rituals about looking into the future.
Probably.
So that was, I'm not sure how far back that went. I couldn't really find an exact time, but into the 7th century, that's when the Catholic Church kind of stepped in and made the holiday about them. And they established All Saints' Day, also known as All Hallows, on the 1st of November to honor saints and martyrs. The night before All Saints' Day became known as All Hallows' Eve, and then later Halloween to kind of shorten it. And the church aimed to replace the pagan festival with Christian observance, but many of the old customs persisted. So the dressing up and stuff like that kind of became more apparent. I believe that's what the Catholic Church, did this with Christmas as well, right? There's some pagan holiday in December. And a bunch of other religions have holidays at the end of the year. And so the Catholic Church was like, hey, Christmas. So.
I know that's kind of where
all right, and then
they came from too. There was a Saint Valentine, and then like it started more religious and then turned like into a romantic holiday. But yeah, on its similar roots.
I saw that Friday the 13th. The only reason that we associate it with like demonic, demon, satanic things is because of the Catholic Church, because it was a pagan holiday that celebrated like fertility and fornication, I guess, and love. And so the Catholic Church was like, nope, that's bad. Demon, Satan, come in. And so now we associate it with that.
Interesting.
But yeah. All right, so then the migration to North America for Halloween traditions, they were brought over by Irish and Scottish immigrants in the 19th century, and these immigrants introduced their elements, including costumes, bonfires, and the practice of going house to house for food or money, which is modern-day trick-or-treating. And then by the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Halloween had become a secular, community-centered holiday in the United States. Trick-or-treating gained a lot of popularity as a way to involve children into the celebration, because from what it sounds like beforehand, it seemed to be more of like an adult, like, oh, protect us type of deal. So like protect your kids, but then to make it more family friendly and more widely accepted, here comes trick-or-treating and bring on the kids. And trick-or-treating has now really become a kid-centered thing. I don't know, do you guys find it weird if 3 20-something-year-old men go out trick-or-treating?
I mean, we could test it out.
Let's see, what would we dress as to make it really weird? The Teletubbies or something?
The Teletubbies, that'd be a good one.
It'd be a little freaky.
Three Stooges.
Nice.
Yeah, 3 Musketeers.
It'd probably be a little weird, but
Depending
on if I knew them or not.
you gotta embrace the awkward if you're gonna do it, you know?
Yeah.
I think you would get one of two reactions from like parents or older people that are handing out the candy, and it's, oh, that's awesome, guys, or what are you guys doing? Grow up,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
You get one of those. All
I
right.
saw there were these people. They like carried a door to door. So they knock on the door and then they hide behind the door. Someone opens it, then they go and they knock their door and they open it up and they've like got their basket of candy to hand out to the parents that are on the other side of the door.
That's
That's
good.
awesome. But instead of candy, it's tequila shots.
Exactly.
All right. Let's see. Also, by the time Halloween became popular in modern time and in North America, the focus shifted from superstition and divination to community activities, parties, and the exchange of candy and treats. And then corporate America coming in strong. Capitalism's really popping off, you know? And the commercialization of Halloween has, over the years, it's just gone up and up and up with the sale of costumes, decorations, and candy becoming a pretty significant industry. I mean, you look at Spirit Halloween, you know, you got the Grim Reaper on the front coming in and taking the soul of a store to start selling their stuff. So, and I mean, Spirit Halloween's only around during this time, and then like November 1st, it's gone. So,
I'm surprised they don't do something like the Christmas version of that store, doing like the same thing for like cheap gifts and stuff. Like, I'm no marketing genius or product manager by any means, but I feel like that's a good idea. But that's just me. Just have a pop-up store for Christmas.
Keep the space rented out, convert it over through November.
Yeah, just do November, December, and then December 24th you shut down or whatever.
Yeah, if you had like decorations, cheap gifts, and then like a wrapping station where like people could drop off gifts to get wrapped.
Yeah.
mm-hmm. You could even leave it open a week or two after, depending on not even like a set time. You could just leave it open, and it's like any extra decorations or any extra supplies. Like if you had wrapping paper, you could sell it at like a way discounted price.
Yeah.
Kind of like Halloween candy, the day after goes 50% off.
Yeah.
Anything they have left, because they got to get that branding out so they can get the Christmas stuff in.
Right.
So you can leave it open until the new year.
Or even do something like they do like a buyback like of old decorations that they can build up their inventory and resell next year or something too.
Mm-hmm.
Do that at even more of a discount. Like I don't know. I'm no genius, but I feel like that's a pretty good pot of gold.
The only thing I can think of that's like a pop-up Christmas store would be like selling live Christmas trees.
Right.
Because those, I mean, we don't really have something like that here. At least I'm not aware of something like that here. But like you see it in the movies, you see it in the shows during Christmas time. Oh, let's go pick out our tree. And they go down to some parking lot and there's, you know, the same guy that's been selling Christmas trees for 30 years is selling Christmas trees. So,
right.
And they sell you either on getting the Douglas fir or the juniper or something, you know.
That's kind of fireworks stands, honestly.
True.
That too. But yeah, so kind of just the commercialization has really bumped up the holiday, and it's also been influenced by pop culture, with kind of just mainly the costumes are becoming more pop culture, and it's like you don't see as many zombies or vampires as you would like superheroes, like Marvel superheroes. You don't see like Superman's, Batman's, Iron Man's, all that stuff. You see those a little bit more often than you would like a zombie or something.
Mm-hmm.
In the kids, though, I feel like you get more into like the teenage, young adult Christmas style, or not Christmas, Halloween parties, like costume parties, and that's where you see the zombies, the vampires, the more traditional route. Then it's like, oh, you're just Iron Man or something. That's more of like I feel like that's kind of the kid area, and then like you get more into like the original ideas. There we go, kind of, I guess.
You think that's kind of a generational thing? Because I feel like zombies and vampires were a big thing when we were younger. You think we just aged with that?
Probably.
Probably.
in the next
I
generation,
mean,
like, this new set.
it's probably like a cultural thing, like with how big Marvel's really gotten, especially the last couple of years, previous years and stuff. Or like trying to think of what else I've seen a lot of that like are
I think it's also the industry, like the people that are selling the costumes. It's like, oh, what are the kids into these days? You know, when we were kids, there wasn't as many of these pop culture icons, I guess, that were commonly known. I mean,
Uh-huh.
you get
right.
maybe like Star Wars. Everyone knows, oh, you're a Jedi. You've got a brown cloak and a blue stick. Oh, you're a Jedi. That's pretty easy. But now I think it's just easier to make mass costumes of these pop culture ideas, I guess.
Yeah. Also, pop culture was like zombies and vampires and stuff. There's like
Mm-hmm.
Vampire Diaries. There was the Walking Dead and everything. Like all these huge television series when we were younger.
Right.
True. Did you watch Vampire Diaries, Darren?
Did not.
That's how we got the chicks.
No,
Twilight.
never
Twilight was
watched
big.
it. Oh, I know you've seen Twilight. How many times?
Just
Really?
once. I was when I was 15. We went on a big road trip as a family over the summer, and in our van we had a TV. And my sisters were like, "We're gonna make you guys watch Twilight," because we were going to like the Forks, Washington, which is like where the books and the movies are based.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, we're gonna watch Twilight because you guys need to know. And I didn't have anything else to entertain myself. And so rather than sitting there looking out the window and listening to it, I was like, okay, I guess I'll just watch it because there was nothing else to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, other than that, can you guys think of anything else? Any other traditions or fun things you do during Halloween? Bobbing for apples, that was a common thing. Or like the donut on a string. Did you ever do that?
Yeah. Yeah, the
Yeah.
donut on the string I did. Yeah.
So, but other than that, that's all we got for you guys today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Please, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Click the bell so you're notified when we release a new episode. Comment down what you like. Comment down your favorite Halloween traditions or this time of the year traditions, and we'll catch you next week. Bye.
So yeah.
Adios.